Hello, everybody. My name is Malkia Newman, and I'm your host for today. And we just want to welcome you to our premiere edition of Stigma Busting with the Anti-Stigma, formerly oh,
The empowerment
the
team.
Empowerment Team. We're changing our names, and it's taking some getting used to. Today, we're going to be introducing you to CNS's award-winning, nationally recognized empowerment team.
Great.
And we want to share with you a little of our history as well as some of the highlights of the 17 plus years that we've been in existence.
About the program, it was grant funded by SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, out of Washington, D.C. and Oakland Community Health Network in 2005. 3 years later, it was made a permanent part of CNS Healthcare. It grew from 2 part-time employees to 4 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. All empowerment team members have a living experience with a mental health challenge. The team has traveled all over Michigan and as far away as Nova Scotia, Canada, and Hawaii.
Now I'm going to introduce Andrew Parrish. He's one of our certified peer support specialists and community advocate educator. Andrew Parrish is a certified peer support specialist with CNS Healthcare. In this role, he successfully combines the challenges he experienced growing up in Chicago and Detroit with his knowledge of recovery to help others. Early experimentation with drugs and alcohol compounded his diagnosis of ADHD, and later he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He studied cinema, art, and science at Columbia College in Chicago, Illinois, and enjoyed writing and producing. Additionally, Andrew was so fortunate to have appeared in several major film productions. Today, his greatest production is the control he has over his own life and the positive influences he imparts on others.
Glad to be here. I'm going to be introducing Cheryl LaFleur. Cheryl LaFleur is a community advocate educator and member of the empowerment team for CNS Healthcare. After the birth of her second child, Cheryl began experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression. She began treatment in community mental health and was later diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD. After learning to manage her symptoms, Cheryl pursued a career as a peer support specialist at CNS Healthcare in 2011 on an assertive community treatment team, an ACT team. She later went through the peer support training and became state certified on July 2011. During her time as a certified peer support specialist, she led and facilitated multiple groups teaching self-care and symptom management. Through sharing her recovery story, she became a positive role model for many. Cheryl joined the CNS Empowerment Team as a community advocate educator in 2018 to continue educating and reaching more people about the importance of mental health.
Now I'm going to introduce Malkia Newman. Malkia is one of the co-founders and team supervisor for the CNS Healthcare Empowerment Team, where she oversees the peer-led Anti-Stigma Community Education Program. The CNS Empowerment team members travel around the country sharing their unique style of community education and have reached over 150,000 people from coast to coast. Malkia is a consumer representative on the Oakland County Health Network Board of Directors, formerly the Oakland County Community Mental Health Authority, where she has served several terms as the vice chair and has also served 2.5 terms as the board chair. Malkia is one of only 5 people with a living experience in the state of Michigan who has had the privilege of holding this distinguished position. Her personal time is spent enjoying her family.
Now I have some questions for the team because we want to give you some insight on what our life is like on a daily basis. Andrew, what does the team do?
We go from city to city, state to state, village to dell, educating the public about the the importance of blocking stigma about mental illness. We publicly speak about our experiences with mental illness and continue to do that.
Cheryl, what is your most memorable moment with the team?
I would have to say, Malkia, that was when we were in Honolulu, Hawaii it was an international conference, and we brought up an old presentation and brought it to life in front of people all over the country, and it was just a wonderful experience speaking to people all over the world. I'll never forget it.
That sounds exciting. It was exciting.
Yes.
Andrew, what's your most memorable moment with the team?
My most memorable moment is when we went to San Diego and we had some free time, and me and my coworkers, Cheryl included, went to go whale watching. We didn't see any whales, but we saw a stampede of dolphins. 700, 800 dolphins jumping in and out of the water, going past us by the boat. It was remarkable, and I'm never going to forget that.
That sounds like awesome. Awesome fun. Well, my most memorable moment with the team was in 2013. I had the opportunity to share my story with over 4,000 people at the Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. It was the National Council for Mental Wellness, their annual conference, and the keynote speaker was President Ted Kennedy's nephew, Patrick Kennedy. And they wanted me to share my story, and I did, and it was utterly amazing to have people on their feet dancing and singing with me. And after it was all over, they treated me like a rock star. So that's my most memorable moment with the team. Andrew, looking back, can you see where you started to show symptoms of a mental health challenge?
Yes. It was around 2001. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I was doing a lot of marijuana. I was not keeping my hair correct. I wasn't bathing. I wasn't washing my clothes. My parents could see that there was something wrong. My friends could see there was something wrong. Looking back now, I can see that's where it kind of all started, you know. But, you know, through caring, loving parents and caring, loving family and caring, loving friends, they got me the help that I needed, you know. I went back to Detroit. I was in Chicago at the time. I went back to Detroit, and that's where my recovery journey started.
That sounds great, Andrew. You are able to share with others, even though you started out with a diagnosis. Life is so much better for you now.
Yes.
Thank you. Cheryl, can you remember when you started experiencing symptoms?
I would say from the time I was a small child and growing up, I had snippets of symptoms, but they weren't something I recognized. When I look back now, I know that they were symptoms, but I would say they became more prevalent after the birth of my second child, and people started pointing out to me, close family members, and then I really started seeing what they were talking about, and that's when I decided to go get help.
As for me, I started experiencing depression in my late teens, but I had never heard of bipolar disorder, which is what I was eventually diagnosed with. And I tried to live my life as best I could with the downside of it, because I really don't even know if I knew what mania was. And I went over 30 years of my adult life undiagnosed, trying to live a normal life. Um, and it was extremely difficult, but my recovery journey started in 2004 when I came to CNS, and they got me stabilized, got me on the right medication, helped me get a place. I was homeless at the time. And within a year, I had the job at CNS Healthcare on the Empowerment Team, and I've been here ever since. Cheryl,
Hmm.
can you tell us what recovery is?
Well, according to SAMHSA, and SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, their definition of recovery is a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. When I describe recovery, I see it as a set of staircases. When the person's in at the bottom, they are at the beginning of their journey, and you're when you're in the beginning, you're going up, you're falling back a couple more stairs, going up again, falling down, but you get back up each time. And eventually you get up to the maintenance phase where you start reaping the rewards. And when you are feeling really good about yourself, you're falling down less often, you're incorporating all your coping skills, and you realize what a great journey it's been.
So, when you're talking about recovery, it sounds like you're talking about coping, how you manage from day to day. Can you tell us what you do to cope?
Yes, I do a lot of mindfulness. I'm getting better at catching and checking myself when I recognize things. I'll, run it back and forth in my mind, and and then I kind of keep myself in check that way. I do a lot of breathing, meditation, yoga. I like to get a lot of exercise in that helps keep me focused and feeling good about myself.
Andrew, what do you do to cope?
I do a lot. I exercise. um, I cook. You know, I love cooking big fancy meals. Just yesterday, I cooked some chicken piccata with seasoned rice. It was delicious. Anyway, um,
What time should we be there?
it's gone. It's all gone.
Oh,
I had it
boy.
for dinner, breakfast, and lunch. um, what else? Exercise, cooking, taking long walks in my neighborhood, taking a long drive, going to see the city of Detroit. You know what I mean? Going to museums, going to ball games, going to events. Different events, concerts, nightclubs, jazz clubs, pretty much. But yeah, just enjoying the city, taking long drives, walking, exercising, meditating, and yeah, the job helps too.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
It sounds like you two are leading a relatively calm and normal, quote unquote, normal life. Is there anything else you'd like to add about recovery or your recovery journey?
What would I like to know? What would I like to add?
Well, let me
I
rephrase the
yeah.
question.
Okay.
What would you like people to know about schizophrenia?
That we're people, just like anybody else. You know what I mean? We're human beings. You shouldn't be scared of somebody with schizophrenia. That's all we see on TV is we see the negative aspects of schizophrenia. Silence of the Lambs, Split, even the movie Psycho that was made back in the '60s. The name Psycho, it shouldn't have been made. It's called that, but what you gonna do? We're not scary people. we're more scared. We're paranoid. We're more scared of everybody else than everybody else is scared of us. People with schizophrenia, you think of them and you see somebody with, messed up hair and disheveled look, dirty clothes, you know, talking to themselves other than that. But the statistics are 2/3 of people with schizophrenia do get better. That's 70%.
Right.
That's a passing grade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, just because you have schizophrenia doesn't mean, you're any more dangerous than anybody else. You're a human being. You just want to live. You just want to, you just take the medication and you go to therapy and you live your life. And that's all it is to it,
It sounds relatively simple.
Well, no, it's not simple.
Okay.
It was years in the making. Like I said, 2001, I was sick. I was not sleeping, not eating. I was paranoid. I got violent with my family, and I got arrested and sent to not prison, but lockup.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of lockup, and I had another incident while I was being paranoid, and I was sent to a hospital. I was in a psych ward for 10 days. And then from there, I went, I can't remember. That's how it works. You can't remember the things you've done.
Mm-hmm. But even though you went through the process, you still are able to live the kind of life you want to live now.
Correct.
Even though it was some bumps along the way, like Cheryl explained with the recovery journey, you still are able to live the life of your choosing.
Correct. I live life of my choosing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember now. I got out the hospital. I was sent to a judge. The judge said, "All right, you're gonna take your medication. You're gonna go see the doctor. You're gonna be all right." I was like, "Okay, fine. Not guilty." And I walk out of there, and it took years of going to a psychiatrist, years of trying new medications, getting some right, getting some wrong, and relapsing. Me not wanting to take the medication because it didn't make me feel well, or I did feel good, so I stopped taking the medication,
Right.
Which is also something else that happens. Goodness gracious, I've lived a lot of life.
Well, it's good to hear
Yeah.
that you lived a lot of life. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Cheryl, do you think that those negative ideas and stereotypes that they have about people with mental illness is what is fueling the stigma?
I think so. I think a lot of what we hear and see on social media, in movies, a lot of it is incorrect. Some of it is depicted true. But people have preconceived notions about mental health, and that's why we're out there to try to bust that, to let people know. We show them by sharing our stories that we're just regular people. Mental health in general is a diagnosis. It's not who the person is.
Right. Absolutely right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cheryl, what do you do for fun?
Oh boy, I love to go camping. I love watching movies. Being with my family and friends. I love hiking in the woods. It's my happy place when the weather's nice. I like to go out in the woods and just to be in the nature. It's so soothing and calm, and I also enjoy my alone time a lot. I got to make some balance when it comes to that.
Andrew, what do you do for fun?
So I said a lot of it before, cooking, eating, taking long drives in the city, looking at different things, going to ball games, baseball, basketball, football now. That's something new I tried. Um, Hanging out with my parents, talking with my siblings, family functions, walking my dog. Other than that, yeah,
Yeah.
just hanging out, being by myself sometimes.
So we do have fun.
Well, what
Yeah.
about you, Melchiah? What do you do for fun?
I love music. I love gospel music and cool jazz music. I also like books. I like movies. I love the movies. I like to go to the movies or watch movies at home. Um, I love my family. I have one daughter. She's in her 50s. I have two grandchildren and a son in law. And I love my family. And I like to spend as much time with them as I can. And that's my little family. But then I'm part of a larger group. I'm the oldest of five siblings, and we don't get together as often as we'd like to. My one sister's in Georgia, and the rest of us, life is life. It kind of takes you away. But I'm really making an effort since COVID to try to be more present
Mm-hmm.
with my family. That's one of the things that happened after I got into recovery. I apologized to my family for what I put them through because I didn't know that I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got better, I wanted them to know that I recognized that my behaviors had uh, caused them some problems too. But it's I also enjoy my church experience as well. I'm an ordained minister, so I can marry and bury. I've had a chance to do a funeral service, but I haven't married anybody yet.
Okay. Um, did you know that 1 in 5 adults experience a mental health condition each year? Did you know that 1 in 6 young people have experienced a major depressive episode? Did you know that 1 in 20 Americans have lived with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression? Did you know only 3 to 5% of violent acts can be attributed to individuals living with a serious mental illness? People with a mental illness are over 10 times more likely to be victims of a violent crime than the general population. Did you know that mental health conditions have nothing to do with being lazy, weak, and many people need help to get better?
That's very interesting, Andrew. I'm sure it helped to bust a lot of the stigmas that people feel towards people with mental health challenges. Well, that wraps up our show for today. Thank you for joining us for our premiere edition of Busting Stigma with the CNS Healthcare Empowerment Team. We hope you enjoyed our program today and you learned a little bit more about mental health and wellness. So we want to invite you to tune in next time for another episode of Busting Stigma with the CNS Healthcare Empowerment Team. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye, everybody.